Welcome to PACTV Community News. We're lucky enough today to have on set the newest member of the Plymouth Select Board, Patrick Flaherty. Welcome, Patrick.
Thank you very much, Julie.
Thank you for being here.
Well, I'm excited. I mean, this is I'd love to do this type of thing and talk to you, and this is the good stuff. Thank you.
This is the good stuff.
Yeah.
So what we are doing now is we're going to have every new select person that is on any of our boards of the 4 towns come in and tell us a little bit about yourself and your background. So why don't we start with, where did you grow up?
Grew up originally in New Hampshire.
Okay.
That's where I'm from, and went to school at Brown University in Providence, and that was kind of my, just far enough away experience. And
so what did you study at Brown?
I studied economics, and through that I also was fortunate to play basketball.
I was going to say, you must have played basketball because you're 7 feet tall or close to it?
Close, depends on the shoes. I'm like 6'9".
Okay.
But you can't miss me in a crowd.
No, you can't.
But that was just a really wonderful experience. I feel very fortunate to have that and met so many different people and experience, and it really was a great learning experience for setting up, working and career, and just actually, which led to my first job after that, really with municipalities, was when I moved to San Diego and worked for a company where we would lead teams to go into cities like San Francisco and Atlanta and Chicago and Los Angeles, and we would improve their municipal operations. So that was my first kind of entry into municipalities through my professional career.
So that's really interesting. So you worked for a company that worked for all different municipalities, and your specific job was to help them become more efficient with their parking, or what?
You got it. So that was one of the specialty things that I would lead teams to do, is improve their parking programs. So you can imagine you have a city like Los Angeles or Tulsa or Somerville, which are all clients of ours at the time, and they all have different needs. And the company I worked for would go in, and we'd have people that could help with the equipment, the policies, the process, how their operations are run, even
the profit
down to
and loss, how to make more money.
Even down to the signs and how they're written and how that makes a difference.
Yeah.
And that was just really a unique experience to see how some places are run great and how some places. And
you must learn from one municipality to another. You learn, and you can take what you learned and help other ones improve.
Oh, it was a great experience. Yeah, definitely.
Now, so when you moved to Plymouth about 6 or 7 years ago, okay, you came here for what? Why was it Plymouth that you came to?
So I have a younger sister who, when she went to school, both my parents, they had loved Plymouth and grew up in New Hampshire, and they loved the water, and so that's when they moved. They've been here for about 14 years now.
Okay.
That's how I got to know the area. We'd come, visit, and
so your parents are here now?
Yeah, they're
Plymouth.
here.
Okay.
And so they, we visit, go to the beach, all that thing, and then over time it's like, wow, I'm a New England boy. If my family wasn't here, it'd be a whole different story, but that's really important to me.
You fell in love with Plymouth.
Yeah.
Yes, it's hard not to.
And that's, so now we're in. So now I'm here, and that was at the same time, moving back here from that job was when I started my company here.
So let's talk about that. So you came to Plymouth after working for this company out in San Diego for all those years. Yeah. And what made you decide to start your own company? That's a tough thing to do.
I've always had that piece. So the job that I had was really great because you sort of were running your own company in the company. I loved that autonomy. And then I didn't know what it was going to be. And then after kind of seeing how it can go very poorly, working with elders and when
so
they
your
want to stay
company does work with elderly people.
Yeah.
Okay.
In their home. That
care.
was kind of the aha. Like I found the industry where I really had a passion for what the work was, and then the operations and how to make that business, I felt like I was suited
You could do it,
Yeah. And then it just was perfect because here, my parents are here.
Yeah.
Plymouth is in a great, we have a lot of resource here. In the hospitals here, there's so many services here.
And the elderly population, let's face it, in this area is the fastest growing populace.
There's a lot of need, definitely.
Yes.
And people want to stay home.
Yes, they do.
To be able to do that with sometimes a little help. It just, it felt good. All the right reasons felt good. That's what I wanted to do. And now it's, thankfully it's going well.
It's a successful business. Good for you. So now let's talk about your involvement with other things in the town, all your volunteer involvement, and what made you do each one.
Oh, wow. So, yeah.
So you started with parking because that was your background.
Well, that was, you came in and kind of the word got out that I had this background in municipalities and their parking programs. And then Plymouth Growth Development Corporation, which oversees Park Plymouth, and believe me, no one likes parking. I know that,
No,
but
of course they don't.
but
No.
it's a big issue, and that's what I've been on that board for 5 years up until I, got the seat on the select board.
Yep.
And that was my first experience in Plymouth. And you think, oh, okay, Los Angeles, great, we'll do this over here. That'll be $100 million project.
Yeah,
Plymouth,
this'll
that'll
be easy.
That'll be cute.
Yeah,
Like,
that'll be easy. It's not.
no, and it's very unique setup when you have the high demand and then low demand periods, and there's challenges there. But there's been a lot of great work to address that, and I think it's moving forward. And how do we continue to build on that work as that board itself, and also as Plymouth?
Yep.
And there's the answers out there, and
Sure.
it's some of them take time. But
Yep.
even in the 5 years, it was nice to see some of that progress.
That happens, right? And seaside communities in general have a very hard time with parking. I know. I used to spend all my summers in North Truro and P-Town on the Cape. There's no place to park.
Right.
Yeah, and everybody wants to go there. So yeah, it's always going to be a challenge. Yeah.
And then,
So what else?
The
What
other
else
one
did you do?
that's really near and dear to my heart is the Plymouth Rotary Club,
Yes.
which I'm the president of this year.
Yeah.
And there was one Rotarian who said, you should think about going to a meeting. And I was like, okay, sure. And
Yeah.
Rotary for me up until then was they sold Christmas trees.
Yeah.
Right? Like, whatever, it was the
Right.
auction in
Yes,
Plymouth, whatever
yes,
it was
right.
for your town.
Yeah.
And that group really does. And there's other service groups, Lions, Kiwanis,
Sure.
that do
Yep.
things in town.
They're wonderful.
Just great people. Not a lot of jerks in
No,
the service
no.
group.
No,
and
of
that
course
was
not.
such a nice introduction to the people that are on the ground, hands-on, doing great work, and just so giving. And that
Yeah, absolutely
was,
selfless.
and I got that view right away,
Yeah.
like day one in Plymouth, which
Yeah.
was really great to meet all these folks and
Yeah.
just good leaders, good role
Yep,
models.
yep. And we see you every year here at PACTV for the auction.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
'cause we love doing your live auction every year.
great weekend. You
Yeah,
guys are the
it's
best for
wonderful.
that, by
Well,
the way.
we love doing it. So you, the Rotary Park Plymouth, you also are involved in the chamber.
Yeah, I'm on the board of the Chamber of Commerce, and that, it's just been a nice way to give back on that side too. They
Yep.
were so welcoming. I was a brand new business, and there was the ambassador program.
Yeah.
There was all the resources that they just would help connect you with. And it's true. I mean, any group, you kind of get out what you put into it.
Right.
But I got involved, asked the questions, met with people,
Yeah.
and they were so giving with their time. So
Yeah.
when I had an opportunity to become an ambassador and be on
Yeah.
the board there, it just made sense. And
Absolutely, yeah.
there's a lot of and it's amazing. We look at the reports of the people joining the
Yes,
chamber.
I know. I'm on the board with you, and it's amazing how many new businesses every single month join the chamber.
Yeah,
it's great.
vibrant.
It's a very vibrant chamber, and it's very inclusive and very involved. So what else? Is there any other groups or organizations?
There's a senior service organization. It's
Yeah.
called the Plymouth Networking Group for Senior Services, which is a nonprofit.
Perfect.
And it's another excellent group of people that
Yeah.
all are in the senior service industry,
Yep.
but they come together for this nonprofit. We have a grant program. We
Mm-hmm.
do events specific for seniors. And the Putting on the Ritz, which is at
Yes,
the Center
yes,
for Active
yes.
Living, which is look forward to that every
Yeah.
year. But that's one that kind of really, was near to my heart because
Yes.
the whole
Yeah.
what I do every day for
That's
work.
right.
But that was those three, I think, were the really
The big ones, yeah.
big ones.
So you have a very well-rounded a group of experience with different groups in Plymouth, so it kind of gives you a really good background for sitting on the select board.
So sat back and watched for a couple of years
Yeah.
and got to know just our town, and then realized that the decisions and how we look forward to the next 1, 5, 10,
Yeah.
20 years, a lot of it, first it has to come down to the people working. It has to be a service.
Yeah.
And we have some great leaders in town.
We absolutely do.
And I saw that this would be a way to continue that service and bring my skills that a lot have to do with the financials. And
Sure.
it's no, public and private are not analogous. They're not the
Nope.
same.
No, they're
but
not.
there's a lot of things that are similar in the sense of when you're working with employees and you're
Yeah.
working with the business and operations, and that's kind of where I feel like I'm very strong and can contribute right away
Right.
and just have that view on things. And I'm excited because you can already see it's been 3 weeks and
Yeah.
there's a lot to read.
There's a lot. And we talked about this a little bit before we went on air, and you said it's like jumping on to a moving train.
Yeah, it doesn't stop
And
for
you're right,
new people to
because-
get in.
No, because the people that have sat on the board for whether it's 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years, they have all this institutional knowledge or all this per subject knowledge that they've been absorbing it or looking at it for years. You come along, and whether or not you've been watching the meetings or being involved in that, now you have a whole different level of responsibility to that information, and that must be daunting.
It is. What I'll say, though, there's been across the board, every single person, whether it was town staff, fellow select board members, or residents, really, really generous with their time to school me on these things. And that's the whole point, I think.
Right.
It's you have to learn, and then it's one issue, but then there's all 7 sides of that issue. And that's, I think, the responsibility is that, no matter what decision is ever made,
Right.
every single person who brings something forward, whether it's an employee, business owner, resident,
Right, whatever it is.
that they are owed the respect to know that it was fully vetted and the reason why a decision was made.
Yes.
Not necessarily always one that everyone
Agrees to show, right.
make everyone happy.
Right.
It'll never happen.
Right.
But there's the respect to show that the thought was put in and that their voice was considered. And then sometimes through that process, what gets me excited and what got me into this is that you can be a part of the solution.
That's right.
So you can see, something that's not happening because of roadblocks. Well, you can offer solutions, and that's
right.
the whole point of collaborating.
Yeah.
Our whole government is set up to be very collaborative,
Yep.
and there's so many volunteers, and that's the whole point. So
Right. And as a select board member, you not only have to collaborate, but you have to learn to negotiate. You have to learn to communicate. Not that you have to learn to, but you have to use those skills. Because especially in a town as large as Plymouth, the number of subjects that you could talk about every single day is countless. It's limitless. And each person or a group that brings something to you, you're right. They deserve the respect of knowing that you're looking at it. You need as much information as possible to make a good and logical decision at that time. And I think that's most what people want. They want to know, at least I was heard.
Right.
And maybe it didn't work this time, but maybe it'll work next time. And it seems to me that our select board, especially in Plymouth, very diversified board, which is really good. All different backgrounds, different age groups, they bring a different skill set. And when you put them all together, you put all the heads together, and especially with our town manager, you've got a great group there with a lot of intelligence and a lot of integrity. And what people don't sometimes give you credit for is that boards want to do the right thing. They want to make the right decisions. They want to hear everybody. And I think boards get a bad rap a lot. Because why do you think that is? Let me ask you. Why do people not understand how difficult it is to actually run a board?
The way we communicate is evolving, and so I think it's how information is presented and communicated is so critical.
Yeah.
So, for example, not any particular issue, but if there's something that has a complex legal issues going on behind it that have to do with, say, contracts or moving forward,
Yep.
or even things to do with the federal level that
Yep.
are out of our purview. It's how do you communicate all of those pieces so that, and I'm just be honest, I'm guilty too. We are in a much shorter attention span world where, and this is not a discredit to anybody, but if you can communicate something in 2 minutes that before needed to have a very long written report, then that's going to have much more of a, whether it's that video or if it's just someone speaking it and talking for
Right,
someone to
right.
explain it, they then can be played over and digested, and
Yes.
then you go and read further
Yes,
materials
yes.
later. That's going to connect with a lot more people, I think, because there's a lot of time required and people are very busy in their lives.
Yep.
And so if you
Yep.
put a 200-page report in front of someone's
Right.
desk and say, read this, then let's talk,
Right.
it's just, the reality is it's not
Yeah.
going to happen. So I think that's part of it too, is getting the information out in a way
Yes.
that's digestible.
Yes.
And then point people to the direction, because there's a lot of people, and I'm thank you, because people along the way have said, here, there's some PDFs here, there's reports here,
Yep.
things you really should read about, and I would say, send them to me.
Right.
Send them to the whole board. Like
Yep.
we all want to read these things and get to know, It could be a report from at the federal level. It could
Yep.
be something that has to do
Right.
with industry specific.
Right.
Like that's the information we're relying on everyone to
Yeah,
send
yeah.
To digest.
Yep, and you're right. And in this day and age of the instant answer, I'm going to Google it, I'll look up the answer, there it is. It's not always that easy. Sometimes it does require a lot more thought. So with that, I want to thank you for being here. We'll have you back again at some point on the show to talk about maybe after your first year. You know, how did it go your first year?
Sounds great.
What were the ups and downs? Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Julie.
And thank you for joining us today. We were welcomed by Patrick Flaherty, who's the newest member of the Plymouth Select Board. Thank you for watching PCN.